call this meeting to order. I'm Will Tate, Chairman of the Planning Commission here. So for those of you who have not attended one before, the general process is that after taking care of some business from the committee, we'll turn it over to the City of Jasper to present each of the requests. And after that time, if the applicant would like to speak, they'll be allowed to speak. And then after they speak, anyone sitting here that wants to make a comment, please, you're welcome to come up to the podium. Any speakers, please announce your name and address for our records. And at the end of the presentation, the members of the committee will discuss and then vote to either approve the request or to not approve. And these are recommendations that will be then carried on to the city, the City of Jasper Council. Thank you. And they will have the ultimate authority. We are a committee that makes recommendations. What we do here today will ultimately not impact really the application. It will just be a recommendation that is carried on to the council. All right. With that, I'd like to ask Cassie if you would lead us in the invocation.
Sure. Please bow your heads and pray with me. Dear Jesus, thank you for bringing us here together today, Lord. I pray that you will open our hearts and our minds to hear what it is you'd have us to hear, Lord. Help us speak calmly and be good representatives of who you are, God. We love you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. And pray would you lead us in the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. And with that, I would entertain a motion to adopt our agenda.
I'll motion.
All right. Cassie, motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. The agenda is adopted. I'd also like to approve the minutes from our March 26th meeting. Do I have a motion for approval?
No motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion carries. All right. If we could start with item number 1.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Mary Elizabeth Burgess. I'm the Development Director. We're going to be looking at item number 1, which is to discuss a request by the owner, Rainy Day Development, on behalf of the applicant, Piedmont Housing Group, for the parcel known as 041098 or 100 Darnell Road, consisting of about 4.73 acres. And this request is to downzone from general commercial to multifamily residential. So this parcel is located off of Darnell, which is right off of 53, and it has 341 feet of frontage along Darnell Road. Currently it is vacant and generally flat, and the public utilities are to be determined on that area. So some of the surrounding uses: to the north is some county zoned property, rural residential, and it's vacant at this time. To the west, highway business, also vacant and in the county. To the east, agricultural, and that is also in the county. And lastly, C2 is to the south, and that's a parcel between this parcel and Kroger. So one of the things that we look at is if this application is consistent with the comprehensive plan for Pickens County, which includes Jasper, Nelson, and Tate. So when looking at these things, we want to make sure that they are consistent with the comp plan in order to stay on path for long-range planning. So the applicant is proposing a Department of Community Affairs low-income tax incentive housing project. This project will include 38 units within 2 buildings with accompanying amenities and parking. This project is aimed at 60 to 80% of median income. So those of you who are not familiar with the Department of Community Affairs, not to be confused with HUD. The Department of Community Affairs Office has a low-income tax incentive project which allows projects to be built for affordable/workforce housing. So it can be anywhere from 20% to 40%, 60%, or 80% of the area's median income. And they will receive a tax benefit by building them. And there are many other restrictions that go along with it, but this is the overview of it. So this project will be the 60 to 80% range. So the median income for Pickens County right now is about $34,000. That's for per capita, so per individual. So if you were, looking at this as a single person, that range of income would be anywhere from $20,000 to $28,000 a year. So this is what we like to call the missing middle, where we can actually get the people that live here to stay here and be able to afford to work here. A lot of us don't realize how hard it is to start out until you have to live on your own. So anyways, as part of the comprehensive plan, we have the future development map, and this is indicated by that black arrow there. That is known as a West Jasper Gateway Corridor. And so this project would follow our typical development patterns. Our development patterns it goes commercial, multifamily housing, single-family attached, single-family detached, and then rural. So basic, your patterns of growth from that commercial corridor out. So this would fall into that, as you know, that the Kroger and Home Depot area over there is highly commercial corridor itself. So this development is consistent with the comprehensive plan, and it would present that, as I said, that missing middle housing opportunities and provide for affordable and workforce housing opportunities. So I do also know that a lot of people here, I'm going to be building affordable houses. That is different. I usually make people say they are reasonably priced and stop using the word affordable, because $315,000 is not affordable housing. So this is indeed affordable or workforce housing. So this is just a concept of what this would look like. And so it would have a maximum number of units of 38. Which is the allowed per our zoning code. So there are no special density bonuses for this type or anything like that. It will, because of the existing situation at Darnell, there will need to be upgrades to Darnell Road, including and not limited to widening it and adding turn areas, sidewalks, etc. And there will be other things that are going to be looked at when we receive the traffic impact statement. As usual, and I'm sure you're all familiar with this other condition, this rezoning is not a commitment by the city to guarantee water and sewer at the time of development. Basically, we do not reserve capacity here in the city, so when you get to the point of your development and you are starting to have those needed documents moving forward, that's when we start to look at that in the reality of it. As usual as well, we have site plan review, which means you have to comply with zoning, building regulations, environmental restrictions, flood prevention, street, curb, sidewalks, utility, and landscaping. This project has, the owner of the land has asked for a reversion clause, which means if this project is not, or this property is not bought by the intended project leads within a certain period of time, then it will revert back to commercial. And that is all I have.
All right. This time I'd like to invite the applicant or the owner if they'd like to come up and speak.
Good evening. My name is Josh Thomas, and I'm with Piedmont Housing Group. Our group works specifically in the affordable housing space, or workforce housing space. We do both senior developments and workforce housing developments across Georgia and South Carolina. To date, since 2010, since our inception, we've developed 36 communities across Georgia and South Carolina. That's where we're focused. And I forgot to tell you my address, so I'll just go ahead and do that now. My address is 307 Birch Laurel, Woodstock, Georgia, so I'm just down the road. The large majority of our developments, over 90%, are in rural areas, whether that be in Georgia or South Carolina. We have very few developments in urban areas. We think we have a good understanding of the needs of rural areas, especially the growth corridors where there is a significant amount of commercial development, and the needs of those local businesses, whether they be retail or restaurants, of the needs of the establishments and their employees needing somewhere to live close by so that they can make their money in the same place they spend their money. I would say the closest development we have that's going to be very similar to the proposed Jasper residences is over in Clarksville. It's about an hour and a half from here. It's also a mountain town with a lot of tourism and retail establishments. That's done as Sutton Terrace. It's there in the city limits of Clarksville. Our community we will hire a full-time property manager, a management company that manages 10,000 units across the southeast, and this is what they do for a living as well. Also, on top of that, we'll have a third-party landscaping group that makes sure that the grounds are maintained for our residents and the city's benefit. Some of the amenities will include a business center and our clubhouse that'll be open for our residents to use for work and their children to use for school. We'll have a fitness center, a playground, and a picnic area and gazebo for gatherings, and then just a general gathering area inside our clubhouse for our residents' use. As was said earlier, I think the site plan you shows right now has a 48-unit development, but it's our understanding we need to go down to 38 units, and we're certainly fine with that. And then the other recommendations from the staff that we make improvements to Darnell Road back down to the main road, which will include the widening of the road, the sidewalks, and an extension of the sewer line that is currently down. I can't remember the name of the barbecue joint, but that's where the current manhole is to tie into. So we'll have 8 one-bedroom units, 22 two-bedroom units, and 8 three-bedroom units. And we talked earlier, I believe you spoke earlier about the income ranges. So I would say Pickens County is kind of an unfortunate scenario here. I know generally people don't like to be associated with Atlanta, but under this scenario, it's actually a positive thing because the area median income is attached to Atlanta's area median income. And so the numbers aren't nearly as low. It's open to a wider range of folks. So we'd be talking about rents. First, let me speak about rents. Like your one-bedrooms will range from $550 to $750. You have 2-bedroom units from $700 to $850, and 3-bedrooms from $750 to $950. And again, those income ranges are, it really depends on what income level that you're at. Now, everyone pays their rent here. This isn't it's not like a project-based, as if the federal government's paying these folks rents. We run this just like a normal apartment community. And it's essentially financed like a normal apartment community, except we take the tax credits that we receive from the Georgia Department of Community Affairs, which are federal and state tax credits, and instead of putting $15 million of debt on the property, we can put $8 million of debt on the property. And in return for accepting those credits, we say, okay, well, we're going to restrict this to folks who make between 60 and 80% of their median income. That way we can run it just like a normal apartment community, but even though our incomes are lower and our rents are lower, our debt service is also lower. So it doesn't affect the quality of service that we can provide to our tenants and the quality of development that we can provide to the city. Let me get into the actual incomes now that I brought up the Atlanta income limits. let's just talk about the 60% folks. There'll be some folks that are higher than that, but this will just make it easy. If it's one person, they can make up to $45,180. For two folks, $51,600. Three folks, $58,000. If it's a four-person household, it's $64,500. Now, if you go up to the 80% of AMI, then the one person can make $60,000, two people can make $68,800, three people $77,400, and four people $86,000. So this really does help, as was mentioned earlier. It is workforce housing and the missing middle. So you may have some folks that qualify who are a waitress at a local restaurant, but then you may have some folks that are a school teacher that can qualify. So I don't know if y'all want to ask questions now, or should I sit down and let other folks speak?
I just had a question. So the Piedmont Housing Group, are they owners of all the properties they developed and plan to continue to be owners?
That's right. I'm an owner of Piedmont Housing, founding principal of it, and I still maintain ownership. And it's with this program, it's a long-term play. So when you get allocated these credits, you're really signing on for a 30-year commitment, right?
Okay.
And so certainly people can get out of them, but it's a big deal. And it's usually when folks are, well established and they're going to retire, that they would even get out, and then they still have to hand it over to someone else that's qualified. Because yes, there is the state in the room that requires you to maintain these things, but the 800-pound gorilla in the room really is the investor that comes in and invests in the tax credits.
Yeah.
That really make sure that you maintain the property and maintain the compliance as far as workforce housing.
Okay. That was my only question. Okay, yeah. Thank you, sir.
Thank y'all.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas. All right. So if there's anyone that would like to speak on this matter or ask questions, please approach the podium, and please remember to speak loudly and to state your name and address. Oh, sure. Yes, ma'am.
It's my understanding there's going to be 48 units of less than 5
If
acres.
you could come to the podium and state your name and address.
Sarah Chumley, Darnell Road.
Okay.
48 units of less than 5 acres.
Well, I think it
It's
was
dropped to
38, but yes.
Okay, 38 on less than 5 acres.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Anyone else, any other comments, questions from the audience? So, looking at the need in the county for affordable housing and the track record of the developer for doing these types of projects and the information that's outlaid, I think that there is a great need for affordable housing in the county. These rates are pretty fantastic. And based on the city of Jasper's recommendations, I would be inclined to vote to approve. How do y'all feel?
I'll vote to approve.
Okay. All right. Do I have a motion?
I'll motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So we will vote to approve with the conditions as listed. Make a recommendation to the council to approve as listed. All right. Ms. Burgess, if you would talk to us about item number 2 here.
We have another request for an affordable housing project. Just to let you guys know, the reason why we have them right now is the deadline is in May. So we don't usually have these many. So this property is out off of Philadelphia Road. The applicant is REA Ventures, and the parcel is 25.65 acres, and they are requesting to rezone from RA, Residential Agriculture, to MFR, which is Multifamily Residential. So this property here, you'll see it's the one in the red. It is to the left of, or to the right of, that big mound of sand, also known as Rolling Meadows, which is that townhome project, of D.R. Horton's townhome project that hasn't quite started yet, or started building yet. So they are located, again, on Philadelphia Road. They have about 1,200 linear feet of frontage along there. There is one unique thing about this. They do have a large electric gas easement running through the middle of this property. So, as I said before, it is located next to Rolling Meadows. It also backs up to a mobile home park located in the county. We also have at the corner of Philadelphia and 515, it's a commercially zoned property but has a vacant residence on it. And then across to the north of it, across Philadelphia Road, we have the vacant or pasture land, the 300-acre parcel of pasture land. So like we were discussing before, some of these items are the same that were on the previous one. Again, this is the Department of Community Affairs Low Income Tax Incentive Housing Project. This project differs as it will be in 2 phases of 60 units, 3 buildings with accompanying amenities and parking. Again, this will be the 60 to 80%. This area is known as part of the North Jasper Commercial Corridor. The differences in this same commercial development pattern, except it hasn't really developed yet, but as we know, that area of commercial is developing quickly with, we have the Haley Farms, which we will discuss later on tonight, with several acres of commercial ready to be developed. We also have H. Mullins that will be adding on to it. And then we have those 2 commercial parcels on the same side as this project is going to be on. So again, we have that commercial and then multifamily and then single family attached, which is that Rolling Meadows that was approved, and so on. So again, as we talked, that's a missing middle, but this does, the missing middle for the housing, and this does follow along with the comprehensive plan and our need for a variety of housing opportunities in this area. So this property is a little bit different, as you can see by the shape of it. So it will be tucked back away from the road with those 3 buildings. And you can see that to the right of the parking lot is that gas electric easement that goes right through the middle. So it makes things a little bit more difficult to design, but there are other uses that you can do. Obviously, you cannot build under that. So there are some restrictions. So again, the conditions of approval, this one will be 60 units per phase, so 120 units on 25 acres. So that's lower than what's allowed. Again, because of the added trips that will be created by not only this development, but the existing Rolling Meadows. We will be doing traffic assessment that will take all of those into consideration and future development patterns as well. The water and sewer capacity is the same as condition in 3, so we do not guarantee capacity. And then lastly is our site plan review requirements and compliance with. And that is all I have.
Thank you. Would the applicant owner like to speak?
Thank you. Good evening. Matt Monroe, REA Ventures Group, 2964 Peachtree Road, Atlanta, Georgia. So we are very similar to the prior applicant. We're applying for the same tax credit cycle coming up May 16th. Our group, REA Ventures Group, we've been doing tax credit development since late 80s, early 90s. We work in several states as well, South Carolina, North Carolina, here in Georgia quite a bit, Alabama, Texas as well. We own 2,900 units of housing in Georgia. I think our closest one, I was also going to touch on that as well, would be Abington Ridge. It's in Ball Ground, just down the road. It's on Northridge Road. And we're actually, our concept here is going to be very similar, 2-3 split. The facade is going to have nearly the same treatment. And I have photos I could share if there's interest in that as well. I think y'all pretty well know the location of the development. but as far as amenities, we're looking at 3 apartment buildings totaling 60 units. We'll have standalone community center. Community center will have a business center that's open to residents. We'll have a playground on site. We'll have professional management on site. We typically use KHEC management. They manage all our properties around Georgia. And similar to the other applicant, we're long-term owner and operator of these as well. When we develop, we'll put basically a land use moratorium agreement on the land that requires us to continue with the affordable nature of the development, so that the rents will continue over the lifespan, 20 to 30 years on the development. Getting a bit into some of the specifics, we're going to be very similar in terms of area median income. We're contemplating 50% area median income up to what we call market rate, or just basically what the market could hold. We don't expect rents to be as high as Atlanta market rate rents, but there will be a small number of units that will be open market rents, and there's probably going to be around the 80% AMI range. We're looking at, 21 one-bedroom units. We're looking at 33 two-bedroom, two-bath units, and we're looking at 7 three-bedroom, two-bath units. One bedroom, one bath are going to be in the 700 square foot range. Two bedroom, two baths, 950 to 1,000 square foot range. 3 bedroom, 2 baths, going to be in around the 1,100 square foot range. And similar to the other applicant, I do like to mention, these are very well designed, very well developed. A lot of times I like to mention probably the only difference coming into these versus a market rate apartment is we might not have granite countertops, but we're using exterior materials that match the market. We're using interior materials that match the market. We're doing green building certifications. We'll probably do an earthcraft certification on this, which is just another level of compliance that ensures we're doing smart building design, but also getting residents energy savings, water savings, and also incorporating indoor air quality. And with that, I think I'll kind of pause there, but I'm happy to answer any questions y'all might have.
Nope, I don't have any questions.
Are y'all gonna, well, I have one. So the massive amount of green space that's left over, that obviously you can't build with, I understand, but the rest of the green space, would that be something that y'all would, I don't know, make walking trails or do anything, can y'all do anything for the residents?
Yeah, that is something we will commonly do, look at green space, because the site plan as it's shown, we're not actually showing all the tree coverage that is on that site.
Right.
So, we will try to work around conservation areas, tree conservation areas, activate those where we can. We have several projects where we've done just that. I'm thinking of one in Perry, Georgia. We did a nice townhome community, and we had about 5-10 unusable acres, at least unusable for development, and we activated that with a walking trail, picnic areas, things of that nature. So I do certainly think we could look into that. And we were actually discussing, it might be further discussion, but we'd be interested in any sort of pedestrian connections that we might be able to make south, because the site is actually very close to where the Walmart is and all those great commercial amenities there. So we could see if there's a potential to work with that, with the city on that, making a connection through.
Okay.
All right, thank you very much.
If anyone else would like to speak or ask questions, please approach the podium. All right. Again, very, very similar project to the last one that was approved. I, again, state that there is a need for this kind of housing in the county, and especially this location of housing being close to commercial and areas and restaurants. I would approve of the conditions as stated. Any discussion, any thoughts?
I motion.
I'll second.
So hearing a motion to approve with conditions, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No. That motion carries. All right. And item number 3, has that been continued to?
Yes, if you could provide a motion to continue to May 28th.
Okay. So let's hear about item number 4.
Oh, I need a motion.
I'll motion that
Oh, motion. I'm sorry, motion.
no, you're fine.
Yeah.
I'll motion.
I'll second.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Let's continue. So now item number 4.
All right. Okay, so this item number 4 is to discuss a request to modify ordinance number 2021-25, known as Jasper Village, Haley Farms, by removing 6.69 acres of parcel 030B061001 and modify other previously approved conditions. So this project, again, was approved in =21, and so it was approved under our previous set of regulations, so different things were allowed at that time. So this is a planned unit development. It was supposed to have 100 single-family homes, 99 townhomes, and 11.2 acres of commercial with 3 access points. So if you look on this map here, you'll see the number 1. That is the parcel that we called out, 030B031001. That is 6.69 acres. It ended up not being included in this development, so the person who owns this is now stuck with the parcel with no zoning, basically, because it is a PUD zoning, and obviously it would not reflect the project that could go. But anyway, so that is only one of the things that we've been discussing. So this is what it currently looks like. I know it looks a little bit busy here. The new layout is approximately 102 single-family homes. This is, again, a draft. This has not been approved, so this lot layout and the number of lots actually has not been approved. It may turn out to be less. They have a lot dimension that is supposed to be 50 by 100. It has 2 access points off of Philadelphia Road, one lining up with H. Mullins and then one further down. So it will now have 16.26 acres of commercial with those 2 access points. So just some of the analysis and recommendations moving forward. So this project has been issued a land disturbance permit prior to the site plan being signed off on, so we're still working on that. They have placed a bond while they are logging the site. The new layout has resulted in a higher commercial to residential ratio. If you recall, our new ordinance has actually calls out specific percentages that you're required to have with a certain amount of acreage. Our previous one did not do that, so the ratio can be higher, lower, what have you. One of the other things that has gone through with the traffic review that was completed for the city by Kimley Horn. So the intersection at 515 and Philadelphia, they've been added on and expanded upon. There are D-cell and A-cell and turning lanes that all have been added in there that were not part of the previous layout. So we've been able to get some of the traffic situations over there, as we know it's going to start getting busy with all of this new commercial and residential. So some of the recommendations are that we amend the ordinance to reflect the removal of the 6.69 acres. And it has to revert back to the zoning that it had prior to the approval, which was R1, which is low density single family. One thing that I'd like to add on to this is that the future commercial development must adhere to the current, and I put this at the time of the site plan in case there are new changes, site plan submittal of the zoning ordinance. So that's to basically get the benefit of our updated ordinance for this new 16 acres of commercial. And also the other conditions of the ordinance shall remain.
So the future, the application of our current ordinance will apply to everything, not just the 6.69 acres that's coming out?
So it will only be for the commercial.
Only for the commercial?
Yeah, so the residential, they have that locked in for
Okay.
the smaller lots. And now the lots that we have approved are, in our new ordinance, to have 100 feet of frontage. But the commercial, just more of the regulations that go along with the commercial would include water quality. You have to be able to pass the stormwater, Georgia stormwater manual minimums, things like that.
Was it to go from 99 homes and 100 single family down to 102 single family?
So there's a major water up and around there that there's a lot more protected with the buffers, and the stream crossing just became a little too much,
Got it. Okay.
which removes one of their access points, which was going to be off of that Appalachian
Yes.
court by the church.
Yep.
Okay.
So you'd have to cross that with the water and sewer as well
Okay.
in order to develop over on that side. So
Okay. At this time, would the applicant or owner like to speak on the application?
My name's Jerry Phillips, and 6735 Cadence Boulevard, Sandy Springs. So I think Mary Elizabeth did a great job of explaining the situation. When we really started doing the engineering and the topo, the environmental, it was just very impactful on that other piece of property. And the reason we put the other piece of property in the contract was to get the third access point so we could go more than 150 lots. And it just proved to be impractical. The stream crossing was going to be brutal. And so it just kind of didn't work out. And then also during this time, we got 80 townhomes built across the street, and then D.R. Horton's doing 270. We're like, yeah, this is kind of ridiculous. And then also a lot of the townhomes right on the highway, and so that wasn't very. I don't know. I didn't like that. It didn't feel. It was something else that happened. One of the comments that we got when we went through the original rezoning was the original site plan was really kind of a row layout, and we heard a lot about Worley Preserve and some of these other developments. So we worked with more of the natural topography wherever we can, and I mean, if you look at the before and the after, it's just remarkably better. And the other thing it did, it raised the average lot size. So we went from 50 by 100-foot lots to the average lot size is now about 6,200 square feet. So it was about a 20% increase. And then also, since we're doing all these townhomes, we're able to add some open areas, and we added a clubhouse and a pool house. So I think we're at like 7.5 acres of what's going to be permanent open space. With regards to the increase, what's under the LDP right now is right about 11 acres, about what we were zoned for. So what's being added is that little triangular, there's a little triangular piece on the other side of the other side of the stream that's got to be zoned something. And the reality is, it's like 5.5 acres or something like that, and we're only gonna be able to use about half of it, so I don't know. Here's I don't know if this is like in your package here. Let me just do this. So, three of these here. Yeah, so there's a color-coded, I actually threw that together this morning, which shows exactly what we're doing. Because I realized, like, looking at the site plans, I kind of, I've looked at them so many times, I can, see them in my sleep, but to try to explain the breakout, I think this goes a long way. So the gray area to the left is the parcel that's being dropped. The red are the single-family homes, and then the purple is the commercial, and then the light blue is the piece that's being added. To be rezoned the commercial. So, yeah, and we're, again, with regards to the density, I mean, we're basically cutting it in half by 102 single-family homes and get rid of all the townhomes.
It's very attractive.
Yeah, we're excited.
It's very nice.
Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you. Now we'll have open for questions or comments from anyone sitting here in the committee. If you would, please approach the podium and state your name and address.
Thank you. My name is Larry Wilson. My address is 261 Whispering Pebbles Trail. I live off of Hobson. My question is, and I only have one question, how does the driveway to the residential align with the driveway or road across the street? And let me correct myself. How does the road to the residential align with the road across the street into the townhouses?
On this plan here, if you want to come take a look, it looks like it lines up directly across.
No, that was going into the commercial.
Yes.
I'm talking about the other one, the one behind the commercial. Can I come up there?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
What I'm referring to is, wait a minute, I gotta put my glasses on.
Yeah.
There's another road right here. And it goes into that townhouse development.
Okay.
And my concern is that alignment of those two intersections. If they're too close, you're gonna have traffic problems there.
Let's see.
Gary, can you finish with that,
Or Mr. Phillips, do you have a,
Let's see that, I have to.
let's see. Mr. Phillips, do you want to?
Yeah, I don't, they should align, I don't have the engineering
I
drawings.
think they do align,
Yeah,
if I recall.
yeah, do you have access to that, Mary Elizabeth?
Not on this computer.
Okay.
I couldn't find it on the plan in here. And the engineer
Yeah.
surveyor may just left it off. I don't know, but it doesn't show. That's what concerns me.
Yeah, no, that's a valid concern, I agree.
I believe it does actually. 'cause
Yeah, they should align, yeah, but I'd have to,
So I think that was one of the things that Kimley Horn picked up on.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
alignment of H phones and then the alignment of
yes.
Is Kimberly going to do the site plan or traffic plan?
for us.
For you, okay. All right.
So it wasn't. I can't tell from here. I apologize, I don't have the plans in front of me. But if you stop by tomorrow, are you still gonna stop by tomorrow? To look at the plans?
Yeah,
Okay, we'll be able to show you that.
okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other comments?
My name is Scott Sugar, 9236 Henderson Mountain Road, Pickens County on that side.
Yeah.
I would have thought tonight would have been much more well attended considering conversation. And most of my concerns are really about infrastructure. My wife and I came up here from Alpharetta at Milton, and you can, if you've been there recently, you've seen how that's changed. And I would just encourage you all to kind of pump the brakes a little bit. I love the affordable housing. I think your plan is great. I appreciate how much thought you put into, water areas and all that. But I guess with all these new locations coming in, my concern is about water. I use Pickens County water. This is probably Jasper city water, I would imagine. So I know on our side with Pickens County, that pipe is breaking all the time. And the guys do a great job repairing it. But what they say is, the whole thing probably just needs to be redone.
Yeah.
But I guess that would be my main concern is the water and the school situation with all those locations.
Yeah.
Coming in.
Yeah, and just so you know, that is infrastructure is a huge concern for all of us on the committee and in the city of Jasper. Pickens County was kind of made of leftover bits from Cherokee and Gilmer County, so we don't have a major body of water that runs through us.
Right.
Like everyone else. And so we have to be very cognizant and do a good job of planning those uses going forward. Which is part of the condition, all these conditions or approvals, like we can't guarantee access, we need to, so you gotta make sure that we can get it before we do anything. So, yeah, your points are well taken, and it's something that we always struggle with and ask about.
Well, I'll tell you, we love this area, we love the mountain community, we love the country part of it, and I would just love to see us maintain that character as we grow.
And I think a part of that is we have to grow within our limits for wastewater and water, and so I think that's doing more to keep us rural than anything else. Yeah.
Well, very good. Thank you for your time.
Oh, thank you. All right. Any other comments, questions? All right, hearing none. As discussion, I would, based on what I've heard today, I'd recommend the approval because there's some property that needs to be zoned that's not. So we have to do something, and I think this plan makes a lot of sense.
Great.
Any other questions?
No, that makes perfect sense to me.
All right. I'll entertain a motion to approve with the recommended conditions.
All motion to approve.
I'll second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Motion carries to approve with the recommended conditions. All right. So we are on item number 5. The amendments to the zoning ordinance.
So we have been doing several updates to the zoning code, kind of like the missing middle in housing. We are missing some things in our ordinance as well. A lot of these things are accomplished by, broad strokes that say, and anything else as deemed appropriate by the zoning official, the director, so forth, so on. And, as much as I love to refer back on that, there are a few things that I'd like to actually say. And also this will help a lot with controlling development and making sure that we have everything that we need in place and that we are benefiting and not having the developers benefiting off of Jasper, basically. So the first one that we were updating was part of our permits that are required. So one of the things that has happened previously and has usually and has not been done since I started was land disturbance permits were just issued when you wanted to put a shovel in the ground. And you know what happens, they go in, they strip the land and say, hey, for sale, ready to develop. And then it sits there, hopefully with some grass on it for the next 3 years or so. So this would put in writing that you will not get your land disturbance permit before you have an approved site plan. So once you have that approved site plan, you put in the traffic, you put in the stormwater, you've got everything that meets all the codes and everything, then you'll get your land disturbance permit. So it's kind of like putting that money into backing all of these projects. So we want the serious developers that are just going to, you know, move forward. And then, I mean, they can sell the development as a package, but still, no land's gonna get touched until we have an approved plan. The second one is to make sure, right now, also in that same section, so the permits are required, we do require a stormwater management plan, and again, it is at the parameters in which I see fit, but I would like to hold them to the Georgia Stormwater Management Manual minimums. So water quality and water quantity. It ensures that equal parts, so you're not allowed to have one drop more leave your property than it did before it was developed. So pre and post should be the same number. And also, any that you are putting into our stream systems has met the water quality standards. So we're not dumping a ton of sediment. We're not, you know, we're preventing those, and we're only letting the limit that is allowed in. So we'll be having more stormwater facilities. Also, something else that has come up is the allowance for stormwater detention, retention to be held on private property and not on the property being developed. So as you know, that could be, that leaves, especially if the city is going to accept the roadways, we accept the infrastructure, and if it drains to private property and somehow there's a pollution, there's something that gets in there, that point pollution, we could be liable for that on that person's private property. So now this is making it so that we are not having any off-site detention, retention. It all has to be done on the property as part of the developed parcel. Another one is has to deal with driveways for commercial. It's making sure that anything that is going to be accessed on a commercial lot that the public is going to access, it must be paved. So not allowing gravel, dirt, sod, any of that where you're going to have the public. So think of, you know, areas that have stone where you're walking out to look at a shed or something, or, you know, accessing somebody else's, I don't know, where they have ATVs or something. So this makes it safer, and it's also a cleaner product. So you're not having constant gravel, dirt on the road coming in and out from people traveling on it. Another thing we did was has to do with the allowance for wine package sales. This is not prohibiting or preventing anything. So right now it says in our ordinance for package sale, it just says liquor and beer. And it just always includes wine anyways, but now we're just spelling it out that it is liquor, wine, and beer that is sold in package stores. Next we have, I am skipping a little just because the next slide will have the sidewalk description, but the next one has to do with outdoor lighting in residential areas. So right now, we have standards for lighting, but we don't have design standards. So you have X number of lumens, it has to be this foot candle, that foot candle, but it has nothing to say whether that pole is an old phone pole that you're putting an acorn on top of, or a serpent head. So, you know, you have these beautiful subdivisions that people are doing, you know, developing, and then the ability to put in a wood phone pole with a decorative top, which kind of takes away from it. And this is one that was sparked by somebody proposing it, and I don't know why you would do it, but this is one of those things that you end up having to spell out. So no wood poles. And then lastly is, this is to add payment in lieu of sidewalk construction. So sidewalks are required in all new developments, both commercial and residential. They've always been like that, not really enforced, but as we move forward, you'll see more sidewalks than you have. And I can testify to the sidewalk to nowhere where everybody says, but there's no sidewalk. Why are you making me do sidewalk? Well, I connected 6 miles of sidewalk over 7 years in North Attleboro, making everybody do it. So it works eventually.
Yeah.
It does take 8 years or so, but it does get there. This is for those areas that just can't do it due to slope, right-of-way. It's just not going to be safe along that roadway. So in lieu of that, they will pay into a fund that will be overseen by the street department, and which can be used to engineer, maintain, or other aspects of our existing sidewalk, create new sidewalk. But it's primarily for those areas that you just can't do it or it doesn't make sense. For example, the 53 widening. We still have commercial developments that are coming in there, but with the widening, they're gonna put sidewalk in for it to be dug up 2 years later. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that we've looked at with this. So it does carry our GDOT standards, so it is priced out at our GDOT standards with a 20% contingency.
And so who makes the determination as to whether it's?
So the person who's looking to pay in lieu will present a letter, and it'll go to the council whether or not they accept this. So it's not going to be like everybody being like, yeah, I don't feel like it's cheaper for me to pay you to do it somewhere else. That's obviously not the benefit of this. This is more of, okay, you can't do it. It doesn't mean that you can't pay to help us upkeep some other areas. So all of these have gone through legal. So the language you see is what was approved by legal as well.
Any questions, comments from anyone in attendance? Okay. Y'all have any questions or comments? Right. As a part of the discussion, I would approve them as presented. It seems like they've been well thought out.
Yes.
And vetted.
I motion.
I'll second.
All right. All opposed, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion carries. Recommend adoption.
That is all we have for this evening.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion carries. We are adjourned. Thank you.
And it's 6:59.
All right. All right, I want to thank y'all in the audience for coming in, listening to all this good stuff going on.